Amazing. Oh, thank you, Ken. So nice to have them here. Thank you guys so much. That was lovely. Aw, so sweet. All right. I was thinking as I was sitting there that I probably should have done the ordination recognition after my talk because now I'm crying, but we're going to get through this together. It's such a joy to be with you this morning. So I wanted to have a little fun with my last talk. So my talk is called A New Era. And it is based on or inspired by Taylor Swift's Eras Tour. So who is familiar with Taylor Swift? All of us, right? Okay, so from March of 2023 until December of 2024, Taylor Swift embarked on her Eras Tour, which was a big celebration in this huge tour celebrating her lifetime of work of music. So she went on tour in 51 cities across 5 continents. I'm guessing Antarctica wasn't one, and I don't know what other continent she didn't go to. Over 10 million people attended Taylor Swift's Eras Tour, and it sold over $2 billion in ticket sales. So it became the highest grossing tour of all time, surpassing the previous record that was held by Elton John by over $1 billion. So it was huge. So what exactly is an era? Well, I had a lot of help with this talk from our 14-year-old Lauren, who is a Swiftie, which is what they call Taylor Swift fans. And so she said that for Taylor Swift, the eras are really marked by the albums that she released. And so an era is a distinct phase of identity or of growth or of life experience, almost like a chapter in the book of your life or a season of your life. So Lauren tells me for Taylor Swift, the eras are her albums. And so I asked her, well, what would make things different from era to era for Taylor Swift? Like what changed with Taylor that this felt like a new era for her? And she said, well, sometimes she went into a new era after a bad breakup. Other times it was more of a mindset shift. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. So I asked her to tell me a little bit more about that. So when Taylor released her album Speak Now, it was all about taking on these critics who said, oh, she doesn't really write a lot of her own music. So she was getting a bunch of criticism, and so Speak Now was the first album she released where she was the only writer on every single song on that album. So it was a way for her to stand strong in her power in front of her critics and prove to herself, the critics, and her fans that she was capable. Her album 1989 represented a huge musical change. She originally started as a country artist and then moved very solidly into pop music with that 1989 album. So in a way for her, it was about letting go of her roots a little bit so she could really step in and claim her own identity. And then there was the Reputation album. She'd been receiving a lot of bad press. This is when the Kanye incident happened. Do you guys know about this? So she came out with Reputation, and she wanted to push back against some of the bad press and the box that people were trying to fit her into and really just stand in that power, and this is who I am, and I don't care what other people have to say about it. And then her 2020 album, Folklore and Evermore, was more about quiet introspection. It was a reflection on her life up to this point. She did a lot more storytelling, not just about her own life, but sharing other people's stories as well in that album. And listening to it, you can kind of see a maturity and a groundedness in that album that reflects where she's at in her life when she released it. So I've got a picture so you can see how Taylor's changed throughout her different eras. So starting at the beginning and moving through. All right, now Taylor may be a worldwide superstar, but she's not the only one who has eras of her life, right? We all do. We all have different eras of our life, whether we're consciously stepping into a new era or life just kind of happens and we find ourselves in a new era unexpectedly. So for us regular people, Our eras are not defined by what platinum album we just put out. Our eras are typically defined by things like a job or a career change. Maybe it's defined by moving to a different place or into a new house. Maybe we have an era defined by a really significant loss or a health challenge. Maybe we even have an era of our life which was the "I found unity for the first time" era. And maybe like Taylor, we have an era or two defined by a romantic relationship. So our personal eras aren't any set time frame or number of years. Rather, we move into a new era because of our life circumstances or because of a mindset shift. That something is changing within us. We are gaining a new perspective, a belief that we held onto for so long just doesn't fit or make sense anymore. We're being called into something new and something different, whether it's retirement and a job change, whether it's stepping into a new relationship, even a new relationship with ourselves. So Taylor's Eras Tour was so big that it started a new trend on social media where people have started saying, "I'm in my blank era." And I love this because it's bringing this intentionality into what era of my life am I stepping into. So some of the ones I've seen on social media, "I'm in my slow down and enjoy the moment era." "I'm in my expansion era." "I'm in my letting go era." I've seen "I'm in my saying yes era." And I've also seen "I'm in my saying no era." One that I've seen more recently is "I'm in my soft girl era," which is about self-care and tuning into your heart and not pushing and striving and driving so much, but relaxing into where you are right now. Maybe for some of you, you're ready to step into your healing era. So I want to invite you now to take a moment. You can sit back in your chair, close your eyes if you'd like, or just lower your gaze. And let's take this moment to reflect on the eras of our own life. Maybe starting back in childhood. Maybe you had an era that was about a sports team that you were involved in, a certain place that you lived or work you had to do as a young person. Give yourself a moment to just sit and let those memories come. Looking back through your life as if it were a storybook, what would the chapters be called? Take a deep breath in and release. Just notice what feelings, what emotions, what stories come up for you. As you reflect on your life journey, the different chapters, the different seasons, the different eras of you. Let's take another deep breath in and release. When you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes. Come back to this current moment. How was your journey into the past? Nostalgic, yeah. Could be bittersweet. Could be some really happy eras, some not so happy eras, right? All that make up the story of you. So while your eras may be very personal to you and your life experience, we also go through collective eras together. I'm sure we all remember the COVID era, the pandemic era, right? which was marked, of course, by the COVID-19 pandemic and how drastically and overnight all of our lives changed. With the shutdowns and the masks and the news and the uncertainty and not being able to visit hospitals to see loved ones, there was so much that happened during that COVID era. And it had a huge impact on the world and on our individual lives. So just like our personal eras, this collective era impacted who we are, how we relate to one another, and how we see the world. Is your life different post-COVID than it was pre-COVID? Yeah. Some of the reflections, some of the gifts, some of the lessons that came from our collective COVID era, we took a lot of time asking ourselves questions, didn't we? Like, who am I without my busy social calendar? What do I do with myself when I can't go out and do all the things that I'm used to doing? What activities and relationships and what parts of my life are truly important and meaningful to me? COVID really gave us a chance to reflect on all of that, didn't it? It was a time when we were rethinking our values, rethinking our purpose. And at the same time, there was this collective grief and fear and uncertainty that we were working through. It was a time of turmoil for a lot of us, a time of great growth for some of us. And then we moved into this time where we started talking about the new normal and trying to figure out what that meant for us individually and as a community. Maybe your experience of the pandemic era launched a new era for you personally, one in which you changed jobs or careers or made an intentional choice about where or how you wanted to live. I'm actually curious, how many of you moved here during the pandemic? Wow, quite a few. Just before? So we go through personal eras that are ushered in because of our own mindset shifts or because of something happening in our lives. We go through collective eras that we experience differently but share with the entire community. And then communities and organizations go through their own eras as well, don't they? Like right now, Unity of Verde Valley is entering a new era with Reverend Alexandra Musser as your minister starting next week. So today I want to talk about the key components of moving into a new era and what that looks like from a spiritual perspective. So when we're on the cusp of moving into a new era, whether it's because something is shifting and changing inside us or because life did life stuff, when we're on the cusp of stepping into a new era, it can sometimes feel like a dark night of the soul. That term was made popular from the writings of a 16th century Spanish priest who described dark night of the soul as this wrestling with your faith, this confusion, this despair, maybe feeling like you've been abandoned by your higher power. But a dark night of the soul is an opportunity to release, to let go, to purify, to get rid of some of that old stuff that's keeping you stuck in this era so you can step into something new and greater and brighter. When we're on the cusp of stepping into something new, there can be a lot of fear because change is scary. And even if the change is good change, we're comfortable with the way things are right now, right? So that dark night of the soul, sometimes we can behave a little badly. Sometimes we notice that old wounds and old triggers come back up, and the stuff we thought we were totally done with is just coming out again and again and again. And that's because you are being transformed, because you are releasing some of this old stuff and these old beliefs so you can step into what's new. Jesus said, "You do not pour new wine into old wineskins." You've got to get rid of that old wineskin so something new can be built, so that new consciousness can take root in the change that's happening for you. And these dark nights of the soul, they can be a mystical experience as well, like our eyes are open to something we couldn't see before. Joseph Campbell says we must be willing to let go of the life we planned so as to accept the life that is waiting for us. We don't like that very much though, do we? We like our own plans. But the only way through a dark night of the soul is going through it. You can't go around it. You can't go over it. You can't go back the way you came. When you find yourself on the cusp of stepping into a new identity, a new experience, a new transformation, a new something for your life, no matter how big or how small, you've got to go through that purification process to drop those old beliefs, those old habits, those old ideas that are no longer fitting with who you feel yourself becoming on the inside. And so to do that, we have to surrender. And I don't mean surrender like the nihilistic, nothing matters, and so whatever happens, happens, I don't care anymore surrender. I mean the faith surrender, where you realize there are very few things that I actually have control of. My thoughts, my words, my actions. That's it. So a faithful surrender that will bring you through that dark night of the soul to step into your new era is a faithful surrender that says, I know when it's my time, I've got this. But for right now, Spirit's got this. It's a trust and an allowing of the process that is taking place within you. Because when you feel yourself on the cusp of that new era, it is because you are being called into it. The transformation is taking place. Your job is to allow it. So once we get through that part, then is when we get to step into our power and we get to claim what our new era is going to be all about. We get to define, is this my saying yes era or my saying no era? Is this my era of clarity or is this my era of being comfortable in the chaos? Is this my era of living on purpose? And we have to define what we're taking with us into this new era and what we're ready to leave behind. Because sometimes when we step from an old era into a new one, not everything gets to come with us. Sometimes when changes happen, not all of the old stuff belongs in our new life. So that's our time. And if we're letting go of something, that means we have forgiveness work to do. That when we leave this old era and step into what's new, we have to forgive the people who hurt us, the circumstances that didn't turn out the way that we wanted, and most of all, we have to forgive ourselves. Reminds me of a favorite Maya Angelou quote: "Forgive yourself for not knowing what you didn't know before you learned it." If you're letting go of a relationship or a person or a situation in your life to step into your new era, if you do not completely forgive them, you're still carrying them with you. If you're ready to step into an era of healing, Myrtle Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, says we must forgive in order to heal. And that's really what stepping into a new era is all about, isn't it? It's about healing, which means it's about forgiveness. And then I think the last thing that we can do as we step into a new era, we've done all this work in consciousness. We know where we're going. We've set our attention. We've done our forgiveness work. It's really nice to have something on the outside that reflects the inner work that we've done, isn't it? So let me ask the ladies. You go through a really bad breakup, what's the first thing you do? Eat. New hairdo. Right. We go through a bad breakup and we do something different with our hair, right? So changes to our physical experience or expression, and especially changes to our hair, is something common, not just in our culture, but in all cultures. And actually, hair and changes to our hair have deep spiritual significance in a lot of cultures. So for the Navajo, for example, hair is considered tied to one's spirit, and it's said to hold memories. And so the only time the Navajo people cut their hair is when they're going through mourning, when they've experienced a really deep loss or a really significant life change. And so it's a ceremony, a sacred ritual that's done in their community to cut that hair, and that symbology of release, of physically releasing something. For the Amish, or the Pennsylvania Dutch, they have traditions related to their hair as well. So unmarried men are clean shaven. And then once an Amish man gets married, he grows out a full beard, and never again does he cut or trim his beard. So for the Amish people, it is a symbol of piety and faithfulness to God. And it's also the fulfillment of a commandment in Leviticus that says that no man should trim his beard. It's also the only outward symbol, the only outward way to tell that an Amish man is married, because they don't wear wedding rings. So it's an outer appearance change that reflects an inner commitment to his marriage and to his family and to God. And of course, Taylor. She's got new hair, new makeup, new outfit for every era. For me personally, I marked my ordination with a new tattoo. Now, you do not have to cut your hair or adopt a completely new style or get a tattoo to mark your new era, but do think about what you can do in the physical world to mark that change. Maybe it's just getting a new wallet or a new purse. Maybe it's planting something new in your garden that you've never grown before. And as you watch it grow, it's a reminder of this new era that you've claimed for yourself. Maybe the outer reflection of your inner change is more of a change to your calendar or to your checkbook, so that your time and your money is spent in a place that is more in alignment with what you're committed to in this new era. So you feel like you're on the cusp of a new era. Surrender to that change that's already taking place. Define who you want to be and how you want to show up and be the greater expression of the light of God in this new era. Forgive others and yourself, wholly and completely, so that you don't carry that stale energy into who you are becoming. And mark that inner change with something visible, even if it's only visible to you, or go full Taylor Swift in a whole new wardrobe. Either way. So as you're looking ahead to this new era, whether it's an era change that you're going through personally or just reflecting on the new era that Unity of Verde Valley is stepping into, remember that it is an expression of growth. It's an expression of becoming. It's an expression of unfolding the beautiful, brilliant lights that you already are. So let's take this into meditation. And as you breathe and still your body, allow your mind to clear. Relax into this space and this moment. And I'm going to ask you a series of questions. And I want you to repeat that question inside your own mind and then just let it go. Repeat the question and then just sit with it. See if anything bubbles up from within for you, but don't try and chase it. Don't try to push it. Don't try to search for it. Just ask and then wait. And if it doesn't come now, it might come later today or later this week. So take a deep breath and release. What chapter of your life feels like it's closing right now? What beliefs or habits or roles or relationships seem like they no longer fit? So the question you're asking your highest self, your true self, your Christ self, is what era is coming to a close? Sit with that a moment. If you're feeling any grief or sadness, excitement or anger, just let those feelings be there. What era is coming to a close? Breathe into that and release it. What new way of being are you being called into? How are you being called forward? What qualities, what energies are arising within you? Maybe confidence and boldness, peace and softness, strength and will. And ask your highest self, what is my new era? Sit with that for a moment. Let's breathe into that and release. What would you name your new era? I'm in my blank era. You can ask the question and then just sit with it. No need to search. Just see if anything comes up naturally, and if not, that's okay too. And as you sit in this space and as you go about your day, today and through this week, I invite you to consider what is ready to be released and what is ready to be claimed as you step into this new era for you personally and for our spiritual home. So when you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes, and we will hear again from our beautiful choir.
That's good, thank you.